Hey, what's happening, people? It's Arian Hunt back again with another video. Now, it's been a while since I've made another video because I have slacked off, I procrastinated, I kind of second guessed myself. So I don't know if anyone's following me from Insta, from this page, and to the 33 people who have subscribed to me, you don't even understand how much it means to me to have just even 33 people subscribe to a page like mine. So to youth 33, anything and everything I produce will be for you guys, and I'm hoping eventually this will then grow to 100, to 1,000, to 100,000. But that also falters to me, of course. I need to be able to stay consistent, and I am doing my best. Of course, a lot of things are kind of getting in the way, but that's no excuse. That's on my part. But straight into the video. I'm still getting used to speaking in front of a camera and producing content and speaking naturally, if you will. But of course, you got to start from somewhere. And I thought today's video, I've made a list of different pieces of content that I want to produce, specifically asking friends, family, even co-workers and other clients and even customers that within my gym space who have asked. And some of them have basically kind of implied that they needed help with certain compound lifts. So I thought, let me speak on deadlifts, for example. Now, everyone teaches their deadlifts differently compared to most. I teach mine one way. And it is similar in terms of what you probably already know. But there are a few deadlift mistakes that are probably killing your gains. They're probably hurting your ability to progress up in weight, as well as they're just probably killing your physical self in terms of like how much you're fatiguing, in terms of lower back engagement. The list goes on. But today's video is pretty simple. Three deadlift mistakes that are actually killing your gains. And I'm gonna go through all three of them today. So check it out, it's gonna be fun. Mistake number one is letting your hips come up faster than your chest. Now, the reason why I say that is because when most people do their deadlifts, you kind of want to be uniform. You kind of want to be in sync with the entirety of your body. So as well as keeping your rib cage, or in this sense, your chest up nice and tall, you also want to make sure that your lower lumbar is also straight, and then you're also driving through the ground. So it's all in one consensus. You're not just pushing from the lower body first, then when you get halfway, then hinge from the hip. And that's what I mean. Your hips go faster than your chest does. So I'm going to show it to you. Firstly, when we're doing the deadlift, a lot of people tend to overcomplicate the movement, and you want to choose an appropriate weight that is reasonable to you, to what you can handle. Of course, I can go into another video about 1 rep max and testing out what your max rep strength is. That could be done in a later video. So if you're interested in that type of a film or that type of video, comment below and let me know. Bit out of breath because I'm kind of halfway into a workout, and I thought this would be a really cool idea to film anyways, but cool. So most people, when they do a deadlift, they have a tendency to have their hips so pretty high rather than sit down into the movement. So what happens is they get all the other constraints right, they grab the bar, and without lifting their chest, they pull from the lower lumbar, and then they rise their chest up. Or in other cases, they'll start low, they'll do a deadlift, but then let the hips drive first and then go around on the movement. So in turn, this becomes more of a stiff-legged deadlift than an actual conventional deadlift. So you also got to bear that in mind when you're doing said deadlift. Be very mindful on how your hips sit in terms of your placement, as well as lifting your chest up. So for example, this is how I get most of my clients to do it. When you're doing a deadlift, try to keep relatively close to the bar, grab onto the handle, set the hips down. So you're almost trying to bend that bar, lock in your hips, keep that chest up nice and tall, head up nice and tall. And then from there, the moment you push, everything is in unison. The moment the bar passes the knee, drive the hip through. And then I'm going to do everything in reverse, controlling the tempo, nice and relaxed. No matter what happens, everything is tied together. Everything is moving in one function. Nothing's moving faster than the other. My hips are not going faster than it needs to. Everything is in sync. And that also lowers the risk of injury in terms of your lower lumbar. So mistake number three. Now, mistake number three is actually a lot more common than you think, because in the initial stage of you perfecting, or if not getting really good at your deadlifts, the most common mistake is rounding your back. Now, when it comes to deadlifts, you want to be able to keep everything correct. You want to keep everything uniform. Like I said in mistake number one, you want to be able to keep your technique and your form right, because what you don't want to do is round your upper back and all that pressure goes to your lower back. So it's one of the things that I tell my clients is a very sciencey terminology, that in the sense of, if you already know this, energy cannot be created nor can it be destroyed, it can only be transferred. So when we talk about in this sense, when we're doing a deadlift with a round in the back, all that energy, all that kinetic energy, if you will, is being transferred to your lower back. So you've got to be very mindful of that. So in this sense, this is what it looks like when we're doing said deadlift yet again. So like I said, I've got the 60 kilo bar up and ready for us. And most of the time, people do a deadlift where, once again, mistake number one, they keep the hips nice and tall rather than keeping it low, chest up. And what happens is they start off in this position where the entirety of the spine is flexed this way. And because of how rounded they are, they haven't got room to engage their core. So fundamentally, when you're doing a deadlift, because most of it's coming from your lower body, core engagement is, of course, bracing your lower back, protecting your lower back from any further injury, or of course, the likelihood of you gaining an injury. That here in turn is basically forcing all that pressure to your lower back. So as I bend, I'm literally crunching the spine, which is putting all that pressure on my lower lumbar, and then doing the same thing in reverse, which is, of course, in the short term, you're probably not going to be too concerned about it. But gradually, if let's just say you load the weight up and you just start keeping that technique, that form, that bad form going, it's only going to shoot yourself. You're only going to shoot yourself in the foot. So be very mindful when you do the deadlift, making sure that in this sense, this is how I would want you to do it, is I would set the bar, same again, keep that bar nice and close, get myself nice and low with my hips, chest up nice and tall. I'm gonna grab that bar, bend it, lock my lats down, push through the feet. My lower lumbar is no matter what straight, my core is engaged, my chest is tall. Bar passes the knee, drive the hip, squeeze the glute, lock out. And it's that same terminology. We do the same on the negative as well, keeping that core engaged. Now, the reason why I mentioned that sciencey term, which was energy can't be created nor can it be destroyed, at the end of that rep where I engaged the glutes, I locked my hips through. I'm thinking, cool, and this is just more my thinking than anything else. When we think about energy cannot be created nor can it be destroyed, it can only be transferred, I'm implying that if I don't engage additional muscles like my glutes to lock that movement out and that core, where's all that kinetic energy, that transference of energy gonna go? Is it gonna go to my lower back, or is it gonna go to my glutes that I've engaged? More than likely gonna go to my glutes. So in that sense, we're thinking about engaging other muscles alongside with the deadlift to get other muscles firing up and taking some of the brunt of it. I hope that made sense. So on to mistake number three. Mistake number three. Now, mistake number three is very simple. A lot of people, when they do a deadlift, they don't think about how close that bar should be. So most often than not, when they do a deadlift, they pull from a longer distance from the ground up. So in this sense, for example, the bar might be so far away from their shins that when they're pulling, they're feeling that lower back grab more aggressively, which is in essence hurting their gain. Now, I don't know how you've been doing a deadlift, or I don't know who's taught you a deadlift, or there's a reason why you probably clicked on this video because you want to learn from this more, a little bit more. When we're doing said deadlift, we want to keep that bar as close as we can to the body, so closer to the shins, right? So in this sense, I'm going to show you, right? Most people, when they're doing a deadlift, once again, I'm going to go back to the same thing again, 60 kilo bar. The bar is either right here. So what happens is, in terms of placement, so if we think about it in terms of leverage, if we think about how the bar needs to kind of almost be one with us rather than be apart from us, I want that bar as close as I can to my body. The closer I have it to my body, the closer I'm going to be in sync in that pathway. If I have to bend from this point of view, from the distance I'm having, all that's going to do is leverage more on my lower back, then less on my quads and less on my upper body. So if I pulled from here, all that pressure is going to my lower lumbar. That is going to kill my lower back, meaning my chances of potentially loading this weight would significantly increase in terms of the risk of injury, in terms of hurting myself, in terms of being completely detrimental to my strength as well, rather than doing it with proper technique by keeping that bar as close as I can. Now, a lot of times I've had, the most common question I get asked is, oh, I'm afraid that my knees are gonna collide into the bar. Now, in substitute to that, which I'm gonna link, I'm gonna show you a little clip of another video in a minute now, of me doing a trap bar deadlift. So now if most gyms have these, so do ever look if you can have one. If you don't have one, then of course, maybe look for a gym that might have one, because I'm telling you right now, there is probably gonna be a gym out there that's gonna have, there's definitely gonna be a gym out there that's gonna have a trap bar somewhere, or some form of a semi deadlift bar, if you will. Now, these bars are specifically designed for more or less increasing your deadlift strength, as well as getting your form and your technique right, but just also making it super easy for you to actually practice your deadlifts. Now, the conventional deadlifts, of course, are the barbells. Then, of course, you can do dumbbell deadlifts, kettlebell deadlifts. But in this instance, the video that I've overlaid right now is me doing a trap bar deadlift. Now, the trap bar deadlift, very simple. It basically allows you to step inside of the pathway of the bar, meaning you have a much easier chance on pulling the weight from the side of your arms rather than in front. So of course you're not gonna have the bar collide into your knee, but even then, your knee shouldn't have to feel like it needed to collide into the bar anyways. Because like I said, in this mistake, people have this issue where they have the bar further away from them, when in actuality, we want that bar close to our body. So we're gonna wanna stay right here. As you pull that bar towards you, you're gonna kind of almost open the pathway through your hip anyways. So in this sense, I'm gonna deadlift. You see how close this bar is already to me now? It's literally touching my shins. And all I'm gonna do is, as I pull the weight up, it's almost grinding against my knee. So it's kind of having to go around, maintaining that straight pathway, literally locking in my lats, drive the hip through, squeeze the glutes, engage the upper back, and that's a full deadlift. And all it's done is create a much better pathway. I'm able to leverage way more weight. And then before you know it, I can then get more comfortable increasing the strength. I'm able to slow down the negative as well, because then I've got more control. I can keep my core engaged. And guess what? My lower back is saved. So I don't know why people overcomplicate it. These are simple, easy, correctable mistakes that, I'm so sorry, at the beginning stages, listen, if you're a beginner, more than likely you're gonna make these mistakes, and that's fine. You're human, you're gonna make the mistakes, but the best thing that you can do right now is watching something like this, watching a video like this, understanding these mistakes and getting better with it. Leave the ego at the door. Practice makes perfect, if that's even, is that how the saying goes? But either way, by practicing, you're gonna perfect your skill set, and you're gonna continue to perfect your skill set. And before you know it, you're gonna be able to then teach someone else to correct these said mistakes. So there you go. 3 deadlift mistakes that can easily be correctable any time of the week, any time of the day, any time of the month. It doesn't really matter when it is, you can correct these. And whether you're a beginner or intermediate or expert level, at the end of the day, there's quite a lot of people that make these mistakes, and they are common than you think. So don't be too hard on yourself. Don't think that, oh my God, it's the end of the world. There are always time to recover from these, and there are always time to be a bit more humble about these. So if you're gonna walk away with anything, just walk away with the fact that, do you know what? We're all here to learn, we're all here to adapt, we're all here to get good at something. And in this case, you wanna get strong on your deadlifts. So just be humble, take your time, leave the ego at the door, G-check yourself when it comes to the weights, and just enjoy the entirety of the process. These mistakes are easily correctable. All you gotta do is fix the hips in terms of how high the hip sits, fix in terms of your rounding your upper back, keeping that lower lumbar and keeping the upper back straight, but lifting that chest up nice and tall and engaging the core, keeping the head straight. And I'm speaking a bit faster, bear with me on this one. And the last one, the bar. In terms of the shins specifically, don't overthink about it. Most of the time, the video that I just overlaid, especially when it comes to you using the trap bar, that's gonna help you perfect your strength, your placement in terms of how you, of course, leverage the weight. And then once you feel more confident on that, get on the bar, try that out, and perfect. Take your time, enjoy the process. I hope you liked this video. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. Help your boy out. I want to, at least by the end of the year, reach at least 100 subscribers. I think I can aim a little higher on this one, but with you guys' help and with you guys' insight, and in terms of what you guys want me to film, it will be all the help in the world, because that's how we grow. That's how we grow as a community. That's how we grow as a team. I'm working on quite a few things at the moment that is going to be benefiting you guys, myself, as well as the community. And I hope you guys like it. So once again, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, help your boy out. And I promise to catch you guys on the next video. Peace. Legs in pain. Good Lord.